Hi there, I've prepared for you this week a lot of hip stuff. I've been noticing that many of my clients have hip complaints, so we're going to do something to try and remedy that today. I've put together this flow for you that I call happy hips because everybody has unhappy hips right now. So let's get to it. We're going to begin lying on our backs. So just bring yourself to your back. Take a couple of breaths here, a couple of moments here to just kind of settle yourself in. Ooh, maybe you got a crack. I just got a crack out of my back. Just kind of settle yourself in here. And then go ahead and cross your right ankle over your left knee. And really, depending on how tight you are feeling in your hips, this might actually be a decent stretch for you. So go ahead and stay here if this feels good. If you want to move on, then go ahead and draw this left knee in toward you and interlace your fingers behind your left leg. You could also do like shin or something like that. That's fine. Make sure this right foot is flexed so that these muscles are engaged here and your knee's protected. And then we just hang out here and breathe. So keep drawing this left knee in. With each exhale, maybe you could hug it a little bit tighter. This is going to be a stretch for the right hip, so you should definitely feel it there. And just go ahead and put your own level of spice on this. So if it's just way too intense now that you've been sitting here for a little bit, just back off. Do whatever makes sense for you. Take a few more breaths here. Each exhale, hugging this left knee in a little bit tighter, trying to stretch your right hip. And then from here, go ahead and look at this left knee and imagine that the left knee is pointed at 12 o'clock. We want to get deeper into the right hip, so we're going to actually move this knee over to like 10 or 11. Hey, Ruby. And then hug it in a little bit tighter. This is going to make everything a little bit more intense. So the knee goes from 12 o'clock to 11 o'clock. You come up off that right hip. My right bun is not touching the mat. And I'm hugging in tighter, and it's gone deeper now into my right side. It's my piriformis, actually. That is stretching here. So take a couple breaths here. Deepen the stretch. And then go ahead and just kind of keep going. Turn this into a twist. So you'll just keep going down onto your left side. And then come back to flat on the mat with the shoulder blades. So you could also do this if your foot was down. And that's actually where mine kind of ended up because I do have pretty tight hips right now. So do whatever feels good to you. The sole of my right foot is on the mat, but it does not have to be. The pinky toe edge of my left foot is on the mat, but it doesn't necessarily have to be either. Look for your shoulders to be flat on the mat, and pretty much that's it. The hips will revolve to whatever degree they find appropriate right now. Go ahead and draw yourself back up to center and cross left ankle over top of right knee, and we'll repeat this on the second side. So first, just drawing in towards center, thread left hand between the legs and interlace the fingers at whatever point makes sense for you. Engage left foot so that left knee is protected, and just hug it in. And this side on me is much tighter, so if you have a difference in your sides, it's fully to be expected. It's part of the reason your hips aren't happy. So we'll make them happier anyway. Take a couple more breaths here, hugging in tight. Each exhale, make this a little bit more intense. Make it a little bit more meaningful in your own body. Make sure that you're still able to breathe though. And then let's go ahead and deepen this and move it into our piriformis muscle, which is that very deep bone muscle. So imagine your right knee now is pointed at 12 o'clock once again, but this time we want to move it over to like 1 or 2. So over onto your right hip you go. Again, your left bun does lift up. This actually should give you a little bit more room to hug in tighter, and it's going to go much deeper now into your left bun. So put whatever level of spice on that makes sense for you. I'm hugging this right knee in very tightly, but it is pretty intense for me, so I'm backing off just slightly as I need to so that I can still smile. Take a couple more breaths here. You're trying to deepen the stretch, and each exhale, make it a little bit deeper. And then again, go ahead and turn this into a twist now, so you can see my left shoulder's off the mat too. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this down, and then I'm gonna come back to shoulders flat on the mat. So make that be your only point of focus here. We're trying to coax more openness out of the hips, so let them land wherever they want to. Put your shoulders in the right position. The shoulders should be flat against the mat, both of them. The left one's gonna wanna pop up, don't let it. Let everything about this twist come from the shoulders being flat. Take a couple more breaths here. Go ahead and once again, bring yourself back up to center. Now you're just gonna hug both of these knees in. Just hug them in as tight as makes sense to you. Maybe you bring your face in toward your knees just to get this nice tight hug going, and then you can relax back down. There should be a little bit of pinchiness kind of in the fronts of the hips. You should definitely feel this right where your legs bend, your hip flexors. Take a couple more moments here, just hug it in. Maybe rock a little bit from side to side so you can massage your low back while you're here. Go ahead and turn this now into a happy baby. You're gonna take the soles of the feet and point them up toward the ceiling. Your knees are bent. If you can't reach your feet, go ahead and just grab the backs of the knees like this. There's nothing wrong with that. You're looking for the back to be flat on the mat. Don't let the tailbone pop up like this. Everything depends on this back being flat on the mat. So choose the happy baby that makes sense for you, and take a couple of breaths here. You can rock from side to side here too. It might feel good. And then we're gonna get into each hip individually. Flow this a little bit. So this is happy baby. On an inhale, you're gonna release your right foot and that's a left foot and a left arm. Make them as long as possible. You're inhaling. Try and find this feeling of heaviness. This is very heavy, this left side. It wants to pop up, but you're not letting it. It's very, very, very heavy. Inhale. And exhale and draw this back up into a happy baby. Inhale. Now it's the right side. Long, long, long and heavy through the right side. Big deep inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, right side. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, left side. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more each. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Bring the soles of these feet together and just rock and roll yourself front to back. Maybe you want to grab the outsides of the legs instead. Do whatever kind of feels good to you here. Just let your spine kind of rock and roll. Be gentle with your neck. Maybe you don't want to go all the way back onto your neck. Just kind of look for some traction for your spine. And then let's go ahead and come up to a seated position. I'll just turn to face you so it's easier. Take your right hand back behind you. Take your left hand to your right knee. Twisting over to the right. And then I like to make my twists not very intense at the beginning, and then I like to take several breaths and make them more intense as I go. So Take a couple breaths here. With each inhale, imagine that I just put an imaginary book on your head. So you gotta hold that book steady. With each exhale, draw your belly button in toward your spine. So with the inhale, there's this sort of lift. Maybe you even feel like your chest is lifting too. And with each exhale, belly button moves in towards spine, tailbone drops down toward the mat, and there's quite a bit of action, quite a bit of oomph as you exhale and twist. Take an inhale and bring yourself back through center, and then we'll just do the other side. Left hand goes back behind you. Right hand comes to left knee, and then you just twist. Taking a few breaths here. With each inhale, the spine gets longer. You're putting that imaginary book on your head. With each exhale, your tailbone's dropping down into the mat, belly button's moving in towards spine, and you twist a little bit more here. With your next inhale, bring yourself back through center, and now just go ahead and fold yourself forward. Just fold straight forward, bring your arms out in front of you. Hey Ruby, what's going on? Just take a few more breaths here. Maybe you'll find that you can walk your arms a little bit longer. Just let your spine be sort of round, tailbone drops down toward the mat. Not really a whole ton of work here. Just kind of trying to lean into your hips, which are hopefully starting to open up and feel a little bit more happy hips. All right, from here, just bring your sweet self up and over your crossed ankles and come to all fours. Oops, sorry, Ruby. What are you doing on my mat? Are you gonna do some yoga with me too? Always an adventure with the dog. So from here, you're on all fours. Take your weight over to the left just a little bit, over to the left and back. And then bring it over to the right and forward. And over to the left and back. And over to the right and forward. And exhale left. And inhale right. Exhale left. And inhale right. And then let's reverse it. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale left. Come back to all fours. Come back to neutral. Take an inhale and send this right leg straight out back behind you. Take an exhale, draw this right knee in toward your knee toward nose. And then take this right knee, brush your right arm with it, send it out to the right, kind of like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant, and then send it back. And exhale and draw it in. Brush your arm, dog peeing, send it back. Exhale, touch nose, brush arm, fire hydrant, back. One more, exhale, inhale, and exhale. Let's do your other side. Take an inhale and send the left leg back. Exhale and draw it in toward your nose. Inhale, brush your left arm. Send that left leg out, fire hydrant, and then back. And exhale, draw it in. Inhale, and back. And exhale, and inhale. And exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. And exhale and set this down. Tuck your toes under, take your hips back to your heels, and just let the soles of the feet stretch for a moment. You're pressing the palms of the hands straight down into the mat and forward. This is giving you kind of back action. So actually you're getting a stretch from your feet or into your feet as you do this. When you're ready to, go ahead and come up to a downward facing dog. Paddle your heels out a little bit, stretch into the backs of the legs. And then we're gonna actually do the same moves that we just did on all fours, but now we're gonna do them with downward facing dog. Make the movements bigger, get more into the big muscles of the hips. So bring some stillness into your dog after you've had a chance to kind of stretch into it a little bit. And then adjust your top. Make sure your belly is not hanging out. No one likes that. With the inhale, send your right leg up toward the sky. And with the exhale, bring this right knee toward your right nose, round and touch. Take this right knee out toward your right arm. Take this right knee out and back. And stack right knee on top. Stack right hip on top of left. Inhale, straighten this right leg. Exhale, close this hip down, draw right knee in toward nose. Send this right knee out in a great big circle. Stack right hip on top of left. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, close. This right hip comes down toward the floor. This is going to really dump into the outside of your left leg. Exhale, draw this right knee in. Inhale, send the right knee out, 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 out. Up, stack. Inhale. Exhale, just set this right foot down next to the left and let's do the other side. Inhale, this left leg goes up. See how my hip's still closed? Now I'm gonna open it, stack left hip on top of right. Now I'm gonna inhale and straighten. Exhale, close hip. Left knee goes in toward nose. Inhale out, big circle stack. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale here. Inhale, straighten. Exhale. Inhale, straighten. Exhale. Take one more inhale and straighten. One more exhale to close that hip and then open it back up. And then take this left foot down next to your right. Coming back to your downward facing dog. If you need a water break, go ahead and take it. We'll all meet in downward facing dog. Same moves. Right leg, inhale, lift. Exhale, draw right knee in toward nose, nose toward knee. Inhale, send this back out. This time, exhale, draw it in, nose toward knee, knee toward nose. Step the right foot forward to the space in between your hands. If I just did that and you're like, oh my God, how did you just do that? Step it to wherever, and then just pick the whole thing up and move it. You're looking for this right ankle to be directly over the right knee to be directly over the right ankle, not the other way around. That would be weird. And then from here, go ahead and drop this left knee down, untuck these left toes. Lift up. Take a couple moments here. You're pressing down very strongly with this left shin. Down, down, down brings more action into the front of this left hip. You're lifting up with your arms and just coming forward, forward, forward with these hips. The knee can go a little bit forward, the ankle, it's not that big of a deal, but in a perfect world, you've got a lot of weight into this right knee or this right foot. You're really, really grounding down the back shin and the front foot, really, really grounding to bring a lot of action into your hips. So we're going to call this an inhale motion. As you exhale, go ahead and circle your arms, make them nice big circles. Bring your fingertips down. And with an inhale, you'll rock your hips back, sending these right toes toward the ceiling. So if you remember back to your downward dog and how you were opening and closing your hip, this is kind of a closed hip action. The right hip's dropping down. Right hip's trying to pull back. There's this to your tailbone, just a little bit. That action there is going to bring more stretch into the back of this leg. Heart forward corresponds with tailbone back. This brings a lot of action into your right hamstrings. Inhale here. Exhale, sole of right foot. Inhale, up you go, vertical. Exhale, big arm circle, fingertips down. Inhale, rock back, half split, so this is Ardha Hanuman. Exhale, sole of right foot. Inhale, back up you go. Exhale, fingertips down. Inhale, rock back. Exhale, sole of right foot. Inhale, up you go. Exhale, down you go. Inhale, Ardha Hanuman, half splits. This time changing it up. Sole of right foot, plant left hand, tuck left toes, lift left knee, and twist. Send this right arm up toward the ceiling. So your shoulders, they were flat on the floor before. So now think about your shoulders being the thing to rotate while your hips don't move. This right hip's gonna try and wing out to the right. Don't let it. Keep your hips stationary. Your shoulders are the ones that move. With the exhale, go ahead and bring your right hand down. Let it frame this right foot. Send your right foot back to meet your left and come back into your downward facing dog. Hey, Rue. Let's do that much work on the second side. So you'll take an inhale, lift your leg, the left leg up. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale, send it out and back. And exhale, draw it in. This time, step it through. Again, if you can only make it like this, just pick this up and move it. Knee above ankle. Drop right knee down, untuck right toes. Find a very definite action of this right shin pressing down, and then the forward motion as a result of that from your hips. Take an inhale and come up into a low lunge and just take a couple of moments in there without moving it so that you can kind of get what we're getting after. This left leg, left foot, has a lot of weight in it. The right shin, the top of the right foot, has a lot of weight in it. Those two things are pressing straight down, and as a result, you've got a lot of action through your hips. Take a couple breaths here. With each exhale, trying to sink down a little lower. Make this mean something a little bit more. With your next exhale, bring your hands down. Nice big arm circle, fingertips come down. Same moves, inhale, rock this back. Left toes go up toward the ceiling, and your hips remain closed. This left hip is trying to drop down and pull back. Tailbone sends back, heart sends forward, and those two things put as much spice on these hamstrings here, the left ones, as you can handle. So you find the stretch that works for you. We're looking for somewhere where you can still smile, but that it's very definitely doing something. So we'll call this an inhale. Exhale, come back onto the sole of the left foot. Inhale, up you go into your lunge. Exhale, down. Let's do like 4 or 5 of them. Inhale back. Exhale, sole of left foot. Inhale, up you go, low lunge. Exhale, down. Inhale back. Exhale, sole of left foot. Inhale, up you go. Exhale back. Inhale, sole of left foot. Up you go. Exhale, down. Inhale back. All right, let's change it up. Come back onto the sole of this left foot. Plant right hand under right shoulder. Tuck right toes, lift right knee, send left arm up, and then watch as your shoulders rotate and your hips don't move. And take a few breaths here. The actions still remain though. The inhale with the long spine, the book, even though it would fall straight off your head, you still have that length. With each exhale, the belly button's still moving in, the tailbone's still dropping down toward that back heel. With your next exhale, take this apart, send the left hand down, frame this left foot, and instead of stepping back into downward dog this time, step forward to the top of your mat. Hold yourself forward here. Go ahead and let your feet be about hip width apart. Maybe even a little bit wider. You could also do like mat width even. The main rule of thumb here is that if you really need to stretch your hamstrings quite a lot and they're really, really tight, the wider your feet go, the more you should be able to kind of work in there. So just pick a width that makes sense for you. And you know, I've got little tiny short legs, so maybe your hands don't touch the ground. That'd be fun. Grab opposite elbows, shake your head, Just try and let everything be really heavy in here. Bend your knees if you need to. Take a couple of deep breaths, and with each exhale, see if you can release the top of your head. Just let that head hang and be very, very heavy. Take one more breath here. And go ahead and bring yourself up to vertical. Bring your hands to your heart. Maybe you let your eyes close, maybe you don't. Just take a moment and bring your attention into the soles of your feet. Just feel the weight distribution on the soles of the feet. Maybe you've got more weight on one than the other. Maybe there's more weight in the balls of the feet than the heels. See if you can even that out for yourself. Just work it out in your own body so that the weight is distributed evenly in all parts of the soles of your feet. And then go ahead and open your eyes if they aren't already, and think back to our very first pose, that figure 4 we did on our backs, crossing the ankle over the knee. We're going to do that same thing here, except standing. So go ahead and bring your hands to your hips to start. Pick up your right foot, balancing on your left foot. Cross your right ankle over top of your left knee and sit back. So send your arms forward if that makes sense for you. If it doesn't, you can always keep your hands on your hips. That is not a problem. Keep bending your knee and sending your booty back to whatever degree is comfortable for you. Balance, balance, balance. And then let's go ahead and take this apart. Just kind of play around with this. Bring your hands back to your hips. Send this right foot straight back. My hips are very closed right now. There's no openness to them at all. I could squeeze something in between my thighs. And now they're separating, separating, separating. Trying to keep my body all on one plane. Warrior 3. You can take your arms forward once again. Keep them on par with your ears if you like. You can make your whole body go parallel to the ground. But you don't let this hip, so the hip doesn't go like this. You're keeping it down. The hip's very, very close, and that's actually what's helping you balance. From here, go ahead and take your right foot back. Coming into a lunge. Take an inhale and come up to vertical if you can. And then take one moment here to think about, if you were to get back into that warrior 3 that you were just in, what moves would you have to make? So take some weight into your left foot. See if you can bring yourself back up to that warrior 3. And if you saw me drag my toe there, you can totally do that. My legs are kind of tired, so that was quite a bit of work for it. And yours might be too. So if that's the case, basically what we're trying to do is just ground this leg down and be able to then lift the whole body as a result of that. So there should be a lot of action in the hips. Now it's more strength than stretch. So let's try it again. Go ahead and just shake that out. And we'll try it on the second side. Bring yourself back to center, back to mountain pose. Bring yourself back to weight evenly distributed on soles of feet. Bring yourself back to your center. And we'll do the figure 4 stretch on the other side. So when you're ready, take the weight over into the right foot, lift left knee, cross left ankle over top of right knee, bend right knee, booty's going straight back, heart is moving forward. You can send your arms up if you like. It's kind of a modified chair pose, but we're really looking for lots of action in this that's a left hip bun. From here, let's go ahead and turn this into a warrior 3. So my hip's been very open here. There's very external rotation to this leg. So I'm coming back up. I'm internally rotating this leg. I'm imagining I'm squeezing something in between my thighs, and then I'm sending my whole body straight to parallel with the floor, or parallel-ish. Again, this is strength for the outside of your right hip, So depending on what work your legs have already been doing, it might be enough for you to be like this. The intention is to have a long line of energy through your body and ultimately to be parallel to the floor. But that's not really what this intention is. The intention is to keep your hip closed, not open it up, and purposely work on these muscles in through here to open everything up. So, not so worried about parallel, more worried about straight and closed through hip. And then go ahead and step this as gracefully as you can back into a high lunge, bending this right knee and stepping back into a lunge. So here you are now. This right knee is directly over this right ankle. You're very strong here. Those hips still have that closed action even though the legs are moving apart. So now if you wanted to turn this back into a warrior three, and go ahead and do drag your toes if you need to in order to get yourself back up. Just do it as gracefully as you can, and then come back up to vertical. Shake it out. Shake it out, shake it out, shake it out. So from here, let's just inhale, take the arms out and up. And exhale and join the palms and just fold yourself forward. Take an inhale and lift up halfway, look forward. Take an exhale now and step yourself back into a high plank position, high push-up position, plank. Holding here for a few breaths. If you'd like to, you can drop your knees, or you can keep them up. If you'd like to, you can go all the way to your belly, or you can go halfway. If you'd like to, you can lift up from the floor into a little baby cobra. Or if you only went halfway, you could keep your thighs off the ground, come to an upward dog. With an exhale, find your way back into downward facing dog and take 3 breaths. You can step yourself or you can jump yourself now to the top of your mat. And inhale and ragdoll up. Let's just do a couple more. Sun salutation A. Join the palms up above the head. Exhale, bring the hands down. Inhale, arms out and up. And then exhale and fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant hands. You can step or you can jump. Do whatever flow makes sense for you, lowering down, lifting your own heart. Exhaling, come to your downward facing dog. 2 breaths. Go ahead and walk or jump forward. Let's do one more. Inhale. Palms join. Exhale. Hands to heart. Inhale. Send the hands back up. Exhale. Fold yourself forward. Inhale. Lift halfway. Look forward. Exhale. Plant hands and step or jump back into a plank pose. Lower down to belly or halfway. Inhale. Cobra or up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. 1 deep breath. Inhale. Take an inhale, lift your right leg up. Bend your knee and open the hip. Straighten this leg back up. Exhale and close the hip. Come forward. Take this right knee toward the heel of your right hand and come into a pigeon pose. So your right knee is toward the heel of your right hand. Your left heel is kind of moving toward your left hip. Go ahead and inch your back leg back, look back. Make sure that you can see your heel and you can't really see any of your toes or the arch side of your foot. And then from here, just go ahead and bring yourself down. You can stay up if you like. You can put something under your right hip, like a book, or if you have a yoga block, it might be comfortable to put something under your right hip. Most of us will probably come down to forearms and just hang out here for a little while. Take several deep breaths here. Okay, before you take this apart, just take a moment to kind of take a mental picture of your body and notice that you're kind of like in that two-knee hug that we did at the beginning. Your hip flexors are very, very closed. There's a very deep crease right here in your hip. So we're gonna turn this into a three-legged dog. We're gonna stack the right hip on top of the left, and we're gonna completely reverse all these motions that your hips are doing now. So be gentle with you as you do this. Tuck your left toes under, maybe walk this left knee in a little bit. And then when you're ready to lift, be gentle with you, come up, open, and just take a couple of moments here to maybe do some knee circles, maybe straighten the leg, maybe ankle circles, whatever would feel good. And don't let this left shoulder dip down too much. Keep your shoulders as square as they possibly can be to the top of your mat. So again, the work is down in your hips and your sides. And go ahead and lower this down. Inhale and take your left leg up. Open the hip, stack left hip on top of right. Inhale and straighten. Exhale and close the hip. And then take this left knee forward toward the heel of your left hand. Walk these toes back. And then again, find the pose that makes sense for you. So if this is really, really intense, again, maybe a book would make sense to put under your bum here. Maybe even like a couch cushion might help. If this is just way too intense, just go back to your back and do the figure four. It's pretty much the same thing that this is, it's just more intense here. So now again, look back at your back leg and just make sure that all your toes are pointing straight back and that you don't have like this little sickle effect where you're looking back at your foot arch. Everything goes straight back. And then just come down to whatever degree makes sense for you. I'm liking forearms today. Do whatever you like with your head. And just taking like 10 deep breaths here. So we're hanging out here a little bit. You might notice that you can actually deepen this stretch and make adjustments and kind of get in there deeper. That's great. Go ahead and keep making adjustments as you hold this for about 10 breaths. Take 2 more breaths here where you're at. And then again, just kind of a mental picture of this left hip really quick. Just kind of take a snapshot of it, notice what it's doing. And then we're going to reverse every one of those actions by turning this into a three-legged dog. So if you did walk that back foot back, go ahead and walk it forward a little bit so you have some room to get into your dog. And then go ahead and be gentle with you as you lift up. Send this straight back, open your hip. And then again, don't let yourself just collapse into this right shoulder. Keep pushing up and out of the right shoulder so your shoulders are square to the top of your mat, and this is going to bring more action into your hips and into your right leg. Maybe do some knee circles. Maybe straighten this leg up. Do what feels good to you in here. And then go ahead and put this away. Bring the left foot down to meet the right. Come down onto your shins, your knees. You can leave your toes tucked or untuck them, whatever makes sense for you. And then we're gonna go ahead and from here, leave your hips right over your knees where they are. We're gonna walk the hands out. This pose is, some people call it downward puppy, and I only know the Sanskrit name, which is Anahata Asana. It's heart pose. So you're trying to have your heart move down toward the mat. This is gonna be a lot for some people. So you can also just have your forehead on the mat, but do make sure that your hips are back right above your knees. That's going to give you the traction on your back that we're looking for and the openness in your shoulders. We're definitely working on the hips, but you might have noticed we've been doing a lot of shoulder circles and things, and that's because anatomically, really, they're connected. So we want both open. We want both happy. So maybe you can bring your throat all the way down onto the mat. Maybe you can bring your heart all the way down. Just looking for whatever openness you can find in your own upper back. From here, be very gentle with you, kind of like the pigeon pose you've settled in, so there's maybe a little bit of crunchiness as you come out. Be gentle. Bring yourself onto your belly. If your toes were tucked, go ahead and untuck them. And just take a moment here. Bring your forehead down. Bring your arms alongside your body. And just let everything be neutral. From here, go ahead and turn this into all fours. And then remember at the beginning of our session when we were doing the weight over and around, this time we're just going to go front back. So there's cat-cow, but we're going to add on a child's pose too. So when you're ready to inhale and find your cow pose, exhale, find your cat pose, and your child's pose. Leave your hands where they are. Tuck your elbows in. Just slide yourself forward. Come into a cow pose, and a cat pose, and a child's pose. Inhale forward. Exhale. Inhale forward. Exhale. Inhale forward. Exhale. Inhale forward. Exhale. Let's go into child's pose and just stay there for a moment. Walk your hands out long. Make your arms as long as you can make them. Press the hands down into the mat and then just kind of gently pull them back, but it's more of an energetic move. Like don't actually move them. Just pull back on them so you can just feel a little bit more action through your arms, shoulders, back body. From child's pose, leave your body exactly as it is. Just lift up your torso and walk yourself over to the right. This is a stretch for your left side. Think about your left arm being maybe longer than your right somehow. Drop your hips to the left, but again, it's more of an energetic move. It's not something that a person would even necessarily see. This is all just to accomplish a deeper stretch in your own left side body. Take a few breaths into your left ribs. Walk your hands through center and we'll just do the other side. So this one's going to be a stretch for your right side. Again, try and make it feel so your right arm feels longer than your left. Try and make it feel like your right hips are falling off to the right. But what you're really doing is just giving a deeper stretch into those right ribs. Take 2 more breaths here on this side. And then walk your sweet self back to center. And then from here, go ahead and take your knees really wide. Tuck your toes under. Take your hands back. I'll move so you can see better. Your knees are really wide. Maybe the balls of your feet are touching, but maybe they aren't. Just organize it in a way that makes sense to you. It's again a stretch for the soles of the feet. And we're also going to do some hip circles here. So while your feet are stretching and you're in this funny position, bring your attention into your tailbone and imagine that tailbone could just drive straight down. The way this was presented to me is kind of funny, but it helped me to completely get it. She said, imagine that your tailbone is like a ladle and you're stirring your soup. So imagine that it's really just stirring soup. You're making circles with it. You should feel kind of silly, maybe a little stripperish, but it should also feel really good and feel in some ways very natural. Make sure you go one way and then the other way too. Once you've got that going on, go ahead and take this apart. Bring yourself back onto your back. Hug your knees back in toward your chest. Rock a little bit from side to side. And then keep your right knee and send your left leg long. So we're ending this practice with another twist where your shoulders stay put and your hips do the rotating. So take this right knee with your left hand, twist over to the left, making sure this right shoulder stays on the floor, and then this right hip stacks on top of the left to whatever degree the right shoulder can still stay down. So if the right hip isn't completely stacked on top of the left, it's just not that big of a deal. We need your back to twist in its own proper way. Take a couple breaths here. You can put your hand on this right knee if you like, just to kind of encourage it, but I wouldn't really, don't wrench it, you don't need to. Your back will twist to whatever degree is appropriate for it. And then from here, just come back into center and hug your left knee in and send your right leg long. And then again, twisting here, thinking about hips rotating, shoulders not rotating. Take left knee with right hand, twist over to the right. Left shoulder is going to try to pop up. Left shoulder stays down, and there's your pose. Again, you don't have to have your right hand on your knee, but I actually kind of like it. I just feel like it gives it a little bit more, gives the pose some bones, I guess. And I'm not forcing my knee down, but there's definitely more action in the pose because my hand is there. So taking a few breaths here. And then go ahead and come back onto your back. Put the soles of both feet on the mat, let the knees knock together. Put one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Look up toward the ceiling. Just kind of ask yourself if you're done. Ask yourself if your practice is complete for you. If there are any little parts of your body that still need stretching out, your body will tell you what to do. So go ahead and do those moves. Give yourself the stretches and the last minute adjustments that make sense before you bring your body into just lying down flat, as neutral as possible. Shavasana. And I'm going to leave you here so that you can enjoy the longest Shavasana you possibly can. Go for at least 10 minutes. Just try to let your whole body be neutral. Let your whole body be peaceful, quiet, and enjoy the fruits of your practice, the fruits of your efforts, all this stretching and this strength and this movement that you've been doing to arrive at this point. So bring yourself to the most comfortable, neutral spot on your back that you can, and lie peaceful there for as long as you can. And I thank you as always for choosing to tune in and spend this time with me. I appreciate you so much. Thank you and namaste.